What are some of the real challenges Jason has to make after he make a focused decision on what's going to be first? What do you think is most important that Jason should be looking to do after the focus?
After the focus, he should be looking to actually, who are you targeting, first of all, for your funding? Because this is going to be a lot of funding that you require because it's going to be ongoing. So you have to actually have your funding there. And when you go out to your funders or you reach out to people who you want to fund, what is it that you're giving back to the funder? You understand? Because people in this time nowadays, they always want to create a win-win situation. If I give you $75,000, what's in it for me? Where I'm investing $75,000 in your housing or your project, but what is in that for me? What am I going to get? Am I going to get advertisement? Am I going to get a branding? What am I going to get? What are you going to give me? So that
Never
is something.
thought about that. That's perfect. Thank you.
Exactly. So when you're going after funders or you're going after funding, you have to think. Say for instance, I'm going after Walmart for funding. This is just an example. If I go after Walmart for funding and I ask them for $50,000, how are they going to benefit from me getting that $50,000? What is in it for them? Is it going to be taxable for them that they don't have to pay taxes on that?
Right. Yeah. And that will help with this.
Yeah. Are we going to have a gala and we are going to invite their employees? Are we going to give them recognition? Are we going to have a plaque stating this house was built with a donation? Are we going to have them to invite them to a ribbon cutting? You have to sit down. That's why I would actually like to sit down with you and look and see how you're drafting your funding, because every time you go to a business is a create a win-win situation. I am investing this in you. What am I getting from you that I should put my money into this? So that is something that you have to actually look at after you've established your first, who are you going to target? So that will be your next step. So we have to create a vision, which is what is in it for me.
Great advice. Now, Jason, I know you are in a committed relationship, and I'm, we've all been in relationships that are up and down. How does your partner play into all this?
Well, as we like to put it in our relationship, he's the producer and I'm the director. He will sit back on the sidelines and will enable me either through finances or through support or through whatever way he can for me to accomplish my dreams. So in this particular instance with the Hummingbird Home for Golden Drag, he's behind it 100%. He wants to see the house transformed into something that's going to be useful for the community. He wants to see, quite honestly, he wants me to achieve the best that I can achieve. And he wants to see me fulfill my purpose in this world. And for me, that's things of this nature. So.
Okay, amazing. Now, I understand how you connect to your vision. I understand how you want to reach out to other communities to make this a positive journey for everyone. But the thing I'm having a little bit of trouble with is trying to build the foundation, and mainly for marginalized people, is something that has to be in place, like Katanya said, to get the proper funding or for people to show interest in your goal. Because marginalized people aren't the first people most businesses want to help. They do that, like she said, out of tax breaks. What can I do for you and what am I getting?
I think that's where the queens come in, or kings. Let me switch that delineation to performer. That's where the performers come in. In the bylaws of the nonprofit, again, half of the house being for performance, that's a collective. It's not just people living there and paying rent. in order to be a part of that collective, you have to orchestrate a performance once a month to bring in both money or awareness for the cause and or for the house. So we have to have the performance first, because otherwise the house is not going to be self-supporting. But when it comes to funding for the renovation, I don't envision I'm going to have a lot of issues with that, and I'll tell you why. The people that I've run into so far that are willing to help me, I've been blown away by the amount of support that I'm willing to get, even if it's just word of mouth. We see every day how TikTok and YouTube and things of that nature can change the world, just, if it can get the right kind of mojo going. I don't know if that will happen in this case, but I can see that there's enough interest in it to make it happen. And once we have the nonprofit status, that's when I start hammering the big stars. I want to say, hey, if you can't donate money, you need to spread the word about this. We need to get the word out. So,
I think that, do you have an active website now, an active website where people can get information? Is there an active GoFund or active something to where it's ongoing, to where you're constantly in communication with different organizations and groups that could be beneficial to the Hummingbird home?
Right now, just the Facebook page and then the Facebook fundraiser. In terms of doing a whole web page for it, I've been considering it. I'm not very technologically inclined, so I might have to find help.
Well, have you ever thought about conducting a GoFundMe page? Because
I had considered it, yeah.
That would be a very good idea, because it's something that is really needed, and it's a really good project that you have taken up. To create a good GoFundMe page for that, you would actually receive overwhelming support.
Thank you. I'll do that. I'll do that today.
What demographics are you targeting? Are you, as Stephanie said, are you just targeting marginalized people? Are you targeting Caucasian, Blacks for your group? Everyone? Okay. Perfect.
Yeah. I can't begin to stress enough that I want the space, the campaign, our entire logic, our entire process to be about inclusion. I can't stress enough that, even though, in fact, that's kind of what is behind my vision with the performance side supporting the nonprofit side, is that there apparently was a lot of stigma between the two worlds, and I want to bring them together. So I think this will be a fantastic way to do it.
Jason, our world is full of politics, and in somewhere in between, we have to find our voice and where our voice belongs. And always, the Lgbytqia community, our voices have always not really been heard. They're like, oh yeah, okay, next. Now we're all communicating. We're making a difference. We're helping each other. We're reaching out. We're finally having some sort of a dialogue to have at least, I heard you, or I had a conversation with you. Not necessarily that it really matters, but I exist, I know you exist, and down the road, I won't do anything unless I'm pressured to do it, or it just benefits me or my business or my family. Now, for you, I think the key to all of this, like Katanya said, is you need to set up a GoFund and just go for it. But I want to just say this: if it affects your livelihood and where you are now, with all of your benefits, all of that's going on with you, you need to rethink that. If you can't go forth with the GoFund, because like Katanya said, you could raise the money you need for that house.
Yeah, I think that as soon as we get that status, we're going to be cake, because it will lend legitimacy to the project. It's not just some guy thinking that he can pull this off. With that, with the filing with the state of New York and everything that comes along with that, we gain some legitimacy to it. We're able to say, hey, you can donate on a nonprofit status now. Things are tax deductible. I'm going to keep receipts like, nobody's business, make sure everything is well documented. So, I think that we'll be okay, but this is a first for me. So I can't tell you how much I appreciate the advice and all the help and support.
Now,
No problem. You're welcome.
Go ahead.
I told him, no problem. You're welcome.
That's right. We're here to help each other, Jason. Now, we're going to get off of the funding. We have a clear, I think Katanya gave you some good information. For me, the next thing you really need to do is create more of an information outlet. Facebook is just not going to do it on its own. You're going to have to link up with some of these trans organizations, these reach out programs for the marginalized people, for the drag community that you're seeking. You're going to have to reach out to people that you know can make a real difference at the Hummingbird home. You need solid people that have solid lives, that have a solid goal for themselves, and they're willing to help you make your dream come true. And in turn, you are helping others. Now, Katanya, you explained to him what are going to be some of the challenges of, let's just say, the drag performers in the house and the trans performers in the house. What are going to be some challenges for Jason to keep order in this home?
There will be challenges because there are two different genres, right? So you have the drags and then you have the trans, and they will butt heads because they're not going to see eye to eye. It's just he needs to make sure that whatever ground rules that he's setting for the house, they abide by. And if it's possible that I know it's going to be a house, but segregation, but to say to segregate them would be very bad. But I mean, if you can keep like the trans in one area and them in the other area, but they will still be able to mingle. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so if you have upstairs or downstairs or east wing or west wing, whatever the case would be, that way you will help eliminate some of that feuding or some of that headbutting that they may have. But it all comes down to ground rules and education, because if you educate them and let them know, I get it, you may be trans, you may be a drag queen, you may be a queer guy, whatever the case would be, but we all are as one family. So it doesn't matter what your sexual orientation is. If you're living here, we have to live in unity and peace.
Yeah.
So therefore you have to have like workshops, you know what I'm saying, with them.
Absolutely.
Although they're there and they're living there, have workshops with them, you have meetings with them, you find out what issues they're facing. You have to be in their face because there will be issues. You're having issues with them, you may have a suggestion box for them to let them know what issues they're having between themselves or with the house or whatever they're going through at the moment. And as you said, mental health counselors are actually on board to work with you. So
yeah,
that's a good step also. That will be able to help to counteract some of the problems or that may arise during this transitioning period with them.
Perfect. I completely agree. One of the things that we are going to make mandatory if you want to be a part of the collective is conflict resolution classes. Like you have to go through courses to understand what that's all about and open lines of communication. But you make very valid points. We need to have regular meetings. I need to be open to different sort of, inputs and whatnot. Every performer that's going to be living there is going to have a vote. And when issues arise that anybody has an issue with, we're going to come together and talk about it and things of that nature. So everybody's going to have a voice. Everybody's going to be able to come together. So
okay, I have a few suggestions, Jason.
Sure.
They're just suggestions. You don't have to take them to heart. I really feel that you say when you're talking, you talk about the performers and the drag queens with more ease because